Hello, hello, beautiful people. It's Saturday morning, and we're about to start our Saturday morning move and breathe flow. And as I was mentioning to the students already here, the yogis ready to share this practice with me, I shared on the chat window the link for the music, and I'll be posting that also in the description of this recording, so that you can either play the music that I'm going to be playing for myself during this class, or your own music. Up to you. Oops. Already. And here we are. Gonna get over there and start my music from there from my iPad. And I have my assistant here, Lala. Hopefully she won't go too crazy, but usually she calms down during class, so she shouldn't be bothering us too much. And here, that's where I need to start my music. Good. Alrighty, so let's come to a cross-legged seated position. As you see, I have for myself a little pillow, because I like in my cross-legged seated position to be a little more elevated than straight on the floor. That helps with my hips and my knees. So up to you also if you want to grab something like a folded blanket, a pillow from your couch, whatever that you have available if you don't have straight meditation cushion. And find an easy cross-leg seated position. So your easy cross-leg can look very different from mine, or can be all the way into Padmasana, full lotus pose. So find one that you can sustain and maintain with ease and comfort for the first part of the class. Well, we'll start with warm-up and such. And today I want to dedicate this class, and that's why I opened it to everybody and posted it today on social media, because I want to dedicate this class to winter solstice that is happening in a couple of days, and also to the holiday season and whatever Christmas represents to you, whatever feelings you get this time around, and especially this year where a lot of people are isolated and alone in their places. And so anyways, not to go into the sad side, but I think that also winter time and this time of year allows for a little introspection and opens a place for gratitude and for connecting to the heart and opening that heart to possibilities, to joys, to sadness, to the whole spectrum of emotions, without holding back, and appreciating the connections we have in our life with people in our life, people that we love and appreciate and care for, but also with nature and the cycles of nature. So that's the intention that I bring for my own delivery today and my own sharing. And you may add to that or tweak it or adjust it to whatever you want to bring to your practice today and infuse your sankalpa with. So let's close the eyes and find that sweet spot, that sweet place within, where there's a little more settling. Let me bring the microphone closer. I forgot to bring it. But stay where you are and find a sense of grounding, a sense of landing. And that might be that through the breath you start connecting to the downward flow of the inhale, and how from the downward flow it fills up. So you feel that breath coming in through your nostrils and going down to your belly and starting feeling up from the belly, maybe to the solar plexus. You might find there that this might be a little tightness or a little resistance, depending on how your stressors are today. And then find that sweet space of the heart filled up by prana, to come to a full filled up container all the way up through your throat. Maybe even feeling that breath filling up all the way into the head. And then the exhale feels like a downward push upon a vayu, but it's also releasing up and out through the nose. So find those different polarities, those opposite directions of the breath. through the inhale and the exhale. Bringing yourself a little more into presence and using this amazing tool that is always with us, the breath, to start tapping into the body and noticing how the body is feeling this morning. Where do you feel the breath more prevalent, more present, more alive through the bodily sensations? And add another weight to your body, another perspective and perception of grounding to your sit bones, to your pelvis, relaxing around that area, around the hips. Feel the earth, the pull of the earth under as a stabilizing, centering, grounding force. But also feel through the breath and the movement of the breath, the possibilities, the unlimited possibilities of expansion into space, above, sideways, front and back, through the fullness of the breath in. And bringing your hands to your heart, resting your hands for a moment onto your heart space and starting feeling the warmth and the coziness of the hands touching the heart. From the surface of the skin, feel the warmth going into the heart cave. And take a moment right here and right now to set your intention, your sankalpa. Plant it into your heart, into your hirdaya, the spiritual heart, the connection between below and above, the union of Shiva and Shakti in eternal love, unconditioned, unlimited, unrestricted. And with your hands here, as you're welcoming your intention in any form that it shows to you, let's start gently swaying in whichever way that it feels good, inviting the spine to move. Maybe your swaying becomes naturally a circling, but it might not. If you're listening to music, maybe get into the feel and the beat of the music and let it infuse this gentle movement, this invitation for the heart to be more flexible, adaptable, open, vulnerable, the ability to expand. And there's always a movement as spanda, as the pulsation of the universe, where there's expansion, there's contraction. So sometimes receive that contraction, or actually always receive any contraction, even at the heart space, to allow afterwards from contraction to have that sense of expansion again. And from the movement, the swaying of the spine, invite a little bit the shoulders, the upper back, the chest, the rib cage. Still, if you're comfortable doing such, keep your hands at your heart to bring the awareness that the movement is starting from that spot, from that center, from that light, from the heart light. Invite the head. And invite the hips. And again, this is your own exploration of movement, breath, and heart infusion. And when you're ready, you start releasing your hands from the heart and invite the arms. And stretch and move and explore. And gently open your eyes and invite sight. Invite the sense of sight in your eyes as you move to look around, to connect with the space in which you're moving, breathing, and exploring. And then find the landing in front of you, hands to the ground. Start waving a little bit from side to side across the shoulders. And feel this lateral stretch from right to left. And find your center, and we're gonna go here with hands to the floor into cat and cow. So you're gonna rock the hips forward, expand the sternum forward, and round in. And start rocking and moving from floor through the spine, up to the head, inviting the movement of the breath maybe to calibrate itself into a rhythm, whatever rhythm your breath wants to take here. That's what is for you to experience right here and right now. Not trying to regulate it or change it. Observe and let it be to whichever flow and rhythm it wants to be. Couple more. And back to sitting, to open your arms out and up. And then exhale, open into goddess arms. Open your heart, bring the shoulder blades together, elbows back. Inhale, up. Maybe you touch your hands gently above your head and you kind of find that ascending force from sit bone to tip of the fingers. And exhale, you splash, you open, you expand from the heart out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And find that flow, find that movement, gentle and easy, where there's an obvious opening and stretching, but you're not overly forcing it. You allow it to grow organically. And see again what your breath wants to do. Now, naturally, my breath shifted to an exhale as I'm bringing the arms up and my head, my chin is looking down. And an inhale into the openness of the heart. One more. Stretch up, inhale, arrow to the sky. Lock Mula Bandha, engage the pelvic floor in and up. Feel the gentle engagement and activation of Uddiyana Bandha, pulling upward floor from the belly up. And chin lock if you wish. Hold the breath in just for a bit. And release. Float your arms out and down. Roll the shoulders a few times in one direction. And reverse the other way around. And coming back to center, to bringing your hands to your low back, and you're placing the back of your left hand to your sacrum, right hand inside the left. And we're going to pulse again a few times here into the heart with elbows pulling back, as if your arms here were wings and you're in a little like warming up your flight. You're not quite flying all the way out into the immensity of the sky, but you're preparing your wings, you're preparing your spine here, you're preparing the opening of the back of the heart. Couple more. And relax. Left hand goes out to your right knee. Right hand stays on your low back, and you're going to twist and open. And round in gently. And pressing the back of the hand onto the back. Open the elbow, open the chest. And let's find 3 more pulses here. Head is following in any way that feels right to you. It might be that your head looks over the right shoulder, or it might be that your head actually rests out to the left shoulder. 1 more. Stay. Expand your right arm up and gently lean over to the left knee. Stretch out, expand. Wiggle your fingers. Maybe you can even look at your hand and have a visual of your hand moving up into the air. And gently pulling from your left hand, come back in. Release back to center. And switch. Left hand, back of the hand to the low back. Right hand comes across to the left knee. And we start the pulse to this side. Gentle opening into twisting. Pressing again the back of the hand against the low back. And allowing the elbow to guide the way to opening the shoulder. Using your right hand for a pull and release. One more. Stay. Extend the left arm up. And gently lean over towards your right knee. Look out to your left hand, wiggle your fingers, move your hand around. Play like a butterfly. And pulling back up, releasing back to center, and switching your weight to all fours. Finding your all fours here, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders, and then find a little extra room where you're opening your knees just a little broader and hands also a little wider. And we're going to start the pulsing of the spine here. So let's start nice and easy to see what our range of motion is between the shoulder blades, across the chest. So you're pulsing not the whole spine, but the upper back and the chest up and down. And find those two opposites, those two edges. And you can keep on going slow pace here, exploring both ends of the spectrum, or you can go into more of a pulse. Your arms are nice and straight, fully supporting the soft movement of the chest and the back, the upper back. Feel the opening and the pumping gently also at the sternum area, the solar plexus area. And then you can either keep your breath nice and smooth, flowing slow and easy, or you can add to this a little bit of a breath of fire of Kapalabhati. This movement and this breathing can be very fiery, so find your balance here between sthira and sukha, between effort and ease. You don't want to overdo it, but still feel it, and give yourself whatever you need here, whether it's a little more fire or a little more water in the fluidity of the movement. Couple more. And back to your neutral spine here, where you can bring the knees a little closer into your hip distance apart. Walk your hands forward about a palm, palm and a half. You'll know exactly when we start moving here. And we're gonna rock the hips forward, soft and easy on the first few rounds, and stretch back. And forward, draw the hips forward, open the chest, bend the elbows, and push away and back. Touch your forehead, bow to the earth. Find your flow again, depending on how your breath is flowing for you right now. You might go a little faster, a little slower. You can even add a pause at the end of each stage of the breath where you just watch, stay still, a mild breath retention, and shift again. 2 more. And last, coming forward, stay here and start gently rocking the hips from side to side. Pressing from one hand at a time. Keep the heart space soft and open. Feel the line of connection between the center of the chest and the heart space and the belly here. Add the movement of the head across from shoulder to shoulder. And back to center. Pause here. Feel the compression on your low back. If this is too much, again, you can bend the elbows. You can even go all the way down to Sphinx pose with your forearms down. And add a traction from the hands. Traction forward to create a little more space in the compression of the spine. And to create a little more length and stretch from the sternum down to the belly. Then you might add that last little tweak where you bring the chin away from the chest a little higher, but keep on lengthening through the cervical spine, opening the throat. And gently releasing, shifting back to child's pose, bringing big toes to touch and extending out and back. Find your landing on your sit bones to heels. Maybe you give a little waving here across the hips. And then you might land in so many variations. One of the variations could be landing on your forearms and elbows and simply dropping the head down, which gives you a nice pull through the back, opening the back body here. Or you might decide a landing of your forehead on your hand pillow, stacking your hands on top of each other and relaxing down. Simply in the full classical pose of Balasana, where your arms wrap to the side of the body and your forehead touch the ground. And pause and rest in whichever of those that you choose to be in. And feel the breath maybe a little more expansive, a little more in touch with the polarity of expansion and contraction wherever you feel it. Allowing the softening of the pelvis, of the low belly. And pressing up, bringing your hands for support to the floor, not too far away from your knees. Reach forward to scroll your toes under and roll back. Knees and feet parallel. Make a bowl with your body. Round onto your lap, dropping your head down between your knees. Your heels don't have to touch all the way down. If they touch, great. If not, you can be up to the ball of the feet. But what is important here, what you're trying to bring yourself into, is in this rounded shape of the back, where you relax and rest the belly and chest on your thigh, and between the thigh you drop the head down and you feel the openness from the spine out throughout the back body. And this is our most vulnerable space, our back. We don't think about it, it's behind us. We go through life going forward, exposing the front of the body and fighting with that front protection shield. But the back holds a lot of memories and shadows and fears. So let the sun shine onto your back, from the back of the heart to the sacrum and everything in between. And then slowly pressing down through the heels a little heavier. Start lifting the sit bones up and coming into a forward fold to the back of your mat. You may grab the opposite elbows here to add a little weight, especially if you're high on your forward fold, to help the back relax. You can bend your knees really deep to allow the hips to roll under, the sit bones to lift up. If you're pretty much folded onto your legs, you can relax your arms down, relax your head, even give it a little shake here. Bending the knees. We're going to rise up, bringing the arms back like wings, lift up and stretch. And then bring your hands in front of you, palms down, pressing down. And start folding as you roll forward into your forward fold. Bend the knees, wings out, lift the heart first, extend up. Tip of the fingers gently touch and then press down. Chin down as you look at your hands and start rolling down. Exhaling maybe is your way to go down. Bend, fluid, wings out and up. Exhaling, round, roll, and fold. Breathe in, expand, lift, and reach. And again, find your own rhythm. Bathing into the movement of your breath, into the shower of prana through your body. Inviting all 5 vayus, 5 winds of prana into your practice. Maybe your rhythm goes a little faster. You're inviting a little more fire. Find that warmth at the heart. Keep on opening wider and bigger. From sky to earth. 2 more. And last. Forward fold, walk out, all the way to prostration pose, or pranam. Releasing your arms forward, forehead down, belly and heart to Mama Earth. Extending through your arms, pressing into your hands. Maybe you bring now your hands to shoulder distance apart, and you're pulling from your hands to lift your legs up and stretch the heart forward. Exhale, relax down. And let's find a pulse. You lift up, you stretch from your hands to lift the legs, engage your back. And then softly release and ground completely before you go to the next lift. Find traction through your hands, through your arms. Reach way back with your toes. Lengthen from the crown to the tailbone, from fingertips to toes. And last, stay up maybe, engage a little stronger here, and you may even want to fly your wings out and back, roll your shoulders back, maybe one at a time. You're moving a little bit from side to side, and then stretch back, feel the fingers, feel the toes, maybe you're moving them a little bit. And relax all the way down. Offer one cheek to the ground. Gently rock the hips, soften the back. Getting back to center, hands frame the chest, push up to all fours. Realign to your tabletop and stepping back with your left foot. Right hand aligns somehow to the right knee. I never quite gave a strict instruction on that one because I myself find it easier to open the right hand a little further out to the right so it's not completely in alignment with your right knee. And from here, we're going to open and stretch the left side of the ribs up. Gonna pump it a few times up and down. Still gently touching the floor with the fingertips of the left hand. Now let's add the arm. Stretch up, round, and down. Extend up, round, and down. Two more. And last, stay here, rounding that left side of the ribs up. So you're pushing the right side of the waistline and you're opening that left side body. And then see if you can shift your weight and lift your left leg up. Flex the foot. Notice how that feels. Maybe rotate the ankle a few times here. And then stop that rotation. Really, that left foot down, pressing into the left foot, push and lift the right knee up an inch or so from the floor. And land. Releasing left hand down, releasing left knee down. Give it a little sway, hip wise, rib wise. Find a reset here before we go on the other side. And let's switch sides. You can stay in the same position you're in. I'm going to face you this way now. And step back, right foot. Press from the inner edge of the foot to the outer edge. Ground that back leg strong. And start from the fingertips first of the right hand. Poke the right side of the rib cage up and down. Find a movement that might, in my case, it reminds me of jellyfish moving in water. It might be something else for you, that you have that expansion and that breathing of the rib cage in a movement. And then let's add the arm, lift up, bring it across, round, and down. Push the floor away, expand to the sky, and reground. Two more. Next one, you stay with your right arm up, rounding from the rib cage to gentle rounding of your right elbow and right arm. And then shift your weight maybe a little further forward towards your left hand and lift your right leg up, flex. Feel the power of that leg extending away, and then start rotating the ankle. Joyous heart, wide open. And releasing that right foot down, glue it, press it, find the earth as a full support through the whole right foot. And then hug from the navel and right underneath the navel in and up to lift the left knee up, even if it's half an inch, and breathe. Left knee lands, right hand lands, right knee down, give it a sway. Maybe even a few circles in one direction and the other direction, nice and fluid, into your tabletop. And back to center. Let's go again to the other side. I mean, I'm going to the other side, but you're switching sides leg wise. From your tabletop, we're gonna kick the left leg up, bending the knee, and start peeling and opening the hip. So the foot from being up and parallel to the floor is tilting back, opening the left hip up. You can stay here and open, or you can bring your left hand to catch the back foot, either to the top of the foot, the top of the ankle, or even you can go a little lower on the shin, because we're going to move a little bit that knee in and out. So this requires obviously a little bit of balance, but can you keep the heart open even in the challenge of balancing on one hand and one knee? And if that heart starts opening up or staying wide open, maybe there's a fluid movement also across the shoulders, from hugging in to opening out. Progressively, maybe there's more openness in the hips. And next time you're swinging back, hold it. And maybe kick your foot into your hand and stretch and open. You can look down, forward, up, wherever. Maybe you sense here your heartbeat, the different flow and the different sound and vibration. And gently releasing, closing your hand and your knee down. Give a little swaying to your tail. And let's switch, going to the other side. Kicking the right foot up with the knee bend and start peeling and opening your hip out. You can come here on your fingertips on your right hand. And here you can either stay here again if that's already quite a stretch for you and a challenge, or find the next expression of it where you grab the foot wherever you want to grab, along the foot, the ankle, or the shin bone, and start your movement in and out. So here, if you're familiar with your bandhas, with internal locks, it might help to stabilize here, to engage Mula Bandha. Couple more. stay and smile. Kick the foot into the hand. Express yourself. Find the warmth of and the tingling of joy into your heart space. And if it's not joy showing up, if it's any other spectrum of emotion, welcome it as you would welcome joy right here and right now. And soften back in, releasing slowly back down to the earth. A little sway of the hips or rolls, or the whole spine moves around. Back to center, sliding your left knee forward and find the right landing for your left foot. You might be extremely familiar with pigeon, but I want you to find the access in a very fluid way here. So anchor your left ankle and the outer left foot and give it a little sway of the knee forward and back. And then find the landing of your left knee. Reassess, readjust anything that needs to be addressed to make it a little more comfortable in your landing. And you might also use that right foot to walk the right leg back. And again, I invite you to explore, instead of a straight line, moving into the hips around with your left leg rooted, flexing the left foot to protect the knee from the action of the ankle. And then explore movement, rolling onto your right toes. You might have heard that I had a deep exhale through my mouth. So if that is the urge for you, let it come out. And then land. Relax the back toes. Now let's work a little bit on the upper body. And in any way that you can open a little more spaciousness into the shoulders, into the back and chest. Move in any way that is conducive of opening up a little bit more before we land into our half pigeon. And then find your way down. And your way down, again, can have so many different expressions, shapes and forms. You can go down to your forearms and elbows. You can also go all the way down, forehead down, resting your belly to your inner left thigh. Feeling maybe a connection, like a contact between the left side of the torso and your left leg. And as you acknowledge that might feel like a hug, like some place very safe to land and surrender to. And it can also be that you bring your right arm to the side, right palm up to drop into your right shoulder, and you can make a pillow with your left hand to rest your right cheek on it. And now get into a space of surrender and stillness. And sometimes that space can be a little scary, a little challenging, because we're in the doing and moving all the time, all day long. And when we're in a pose like half pigeon, where a lot can be untapped from the hips and the glutes, then it might come with a resistance of staying still and having a constant urge to tweak, adjust, and do something else. So watch yourself and see where your tendencies are. If you're able to completely relax, even in the tightness of the hip, in the stretch of the glute, in whatever you're feeling here. Watch what might come through your mind when you find stillness. What shows up when my voice stops in those moments of silence. And if and when you find yourself being pulled into the realm of your thoughts and going away from the present moment, simply come back to the movement of the breath and the relationship of the breath and the body sensations right here and right now. No judgment for the thoughts. They might even come along with you. Just remind yourself of presence. Starting anchoring your hands to the floor and pushing slowly up and away. And then pressing into your hands a little stronger to start shifting the hips back. Sliding your left leg back. Find all fours. Lift your left leg up and shake it out. Left knee down. Step forward or slide forward your right knee. Anchor your right ankle, your right foot, so your knee is not completely landing. And then you swing that right knee half a circle or about from front to back. Your anchor point being your right ankle. Next time your knee is swaying forward, find your landing. Flex your right foot a little bit or stronger, and then curling your back toes under. Slide your left knee a little further back and start moving now around from the action of the back leg, the bending of the knee, the pushing, the rolling the hips around. And finally you're landing, finding the support of the front leg, the front ankle, and then finding the right angle also for the left leg. It ideally goes in a straight line from your left hip back, not opening to the side or to further in. But find for yourself what the right spot is for your right hip to relax a little deeper. And let's move around now into the torso, across the shoulders, into the head. Again, with the intention of opening more space before we land. And when you're ready, gently come forward. And again, find your own shape and form of half pigeon today. I offered several suggestions on the other side that you can take or leave, or find your own way of your own pigeon, your unique pigeon. That is not the average, that doesn't have to look like any other pigeon you've experienced before. Actually seek and aim for other layers of your pigeon, other expressions of your pigeon. And then commit and surrender. And land into a little bit more stillness and watch yourself. If again there's a urging for you to move, or a desire to be in a different position, or resistance to even becoming still and doing nothing. When we come into stillness, to me it's always a good place to explore the space between breath and to allow that space between breath to naturally expand on its own. So naturally my breath retention, that I don't even call in that case a retention, is just a pause in between, an empty space out of time, in which a lot of times I may get thoughtless, even if it's for a second, and I watch it. So I appreciate whichever amount of those still, non-doing, nothing happening moments. I witness my own inner sensations and appreciations of those lapses, those cracks in the open sky where the clouds part and the sun or the moon are shining through. And those tiny moments, those micro practices of openness, meditative state, bring a few drops of a sweet nectar into my heart. Very slowly start pushing your way up, finding the ground through your hands and lifting, then releasing from the hips and sliding your right leg back, lifting your right leg up just enough to shake it out, and releasing that right leg down. Let's switch to sitting, extending your legs out to the front and rolling your way down onto your back. Bend your knees. You don't need to place the knees too close to the sit bones. Just bend the knees and place your feet to a comfortable distance apart. part, relax your arms to the side, also where they're naturally landing. No need to make a specific shape out of them. And take the breath awareness down into the belly, into the rising and falling of the navel, into the expansion of the belly out, to feeling a softening and a sinking of the sacrum and low back overall down toward the ground. Your eyes here may be closed. If they're open, bring a soft gaze to your eyesight. Gentle and easy, start swaying and swinging your hips and knees, rocking from side to side. And then see if your head naturally wants to roll to the opposite side. If your head is not ready and stays in center or wants to do anything else, just honor what your head is about. Coming back to center now, slide maybe your feet a little closer to your sit bones, about hip distance apart or a little wider out, not too far, but it can be a little wider than the sit bones alignment. And then bringing the arms a little closer to the side of the body, we're going to flow from a flying bridge to hugging like a ball all together. So bring the arms to sway up as you lift your hips. And then start rounding in and curling up, hugging your knees, head to knees. And then lower down, land, pause, and fly back up. And round back in. And surrender back to neutral. And let's take a few more. Follow your rhythm, follow your flow. Make sure that when you're ready to curl up, your chin comes in. Make sure also that when your feet and arms are landing, you completely relax your abs before you move back up. Adding maybe a sigh out through the mouth at the end of your landing, once you've gone through the flying bridge to the rounding in like a ball. And then you land your feet and arms and you let go the breath out. Last round. Extending your legs up and arms up, finding kind of a parallel here between arms and legs. No need to overstretch the legs. You don't have to tighten the knees. You can Let them bend as much as they need, and then ground really heavy to the back of the shoulders so that, again, the heart is peacefully open. And let's give maybe a few rolls around wrist and ankles. Feel the sensations running through the legs, down into the hips and through the arms, down into the shoulders. And reverse. And stop any movement and just stay here for a bit with your legs and arms up. You might feel some shaking, some tingling. Whatever you feel is exactly what you need, trusting that it's all perfect, all here, all now, within your personal experience. And if you do experience a tingling, a shaking in your legs or your arms, can you soften a little deeper around the heart, into the belly, into the Hara Kanda? Relaxing and softening into your pelvis, into your mouth and onto your face. And feel the amazing, steady, strong support of the earth all across your back, all the way to the back of the head. Relax and sink a little lower into this available support, into this warm earth hug. And watch and feel anything happening in your legs, in your arms, and in your mind, with no attachment, no judgment of any of it. Take a full breath in and out. And slow and easy, start releasing the pose, bending your knees in. Hold the front of the knees, hug them into your heart space, and gently cuddle those knees. Maybe a little bouncing of the knees toward the heart and the chest, and releasing them up and forward a bit. And feel how not only you're hugging and squeezing toward the chest, but you're also adding a little bouncing and a little massage to your low back, to your sacrum, to your mid-spine. And slowly releasing also this pose to bring your feet down and extend your legs out. Relax and release your arms to the side and find your Shavasana here. Relaxing in Shavasana, closing your eyes while I share with you some meditation insights from one of my dear authors and tantric practitioners, Daniel Odier, from his book, The Doors of Joy, 19 Meditations for Authentic Living. So relax into the body, relax into the breath. Let the floor be this warm, comfortable, cozy bed or nest or warm salty waters to float on, or warm sand, soft grass, whatever feels to be what you need to be embraced and held by right now. And as you let go deeper and deeper into more softening, more surrender, more relaxation, let the words that I'll read pass through. Don't engage, if you can, your head and your thought processing, your analyzing. Try to leave that out of the door and take the words as a fragrance. Bring again your intention, your awareness, the watchfulness of your sensations into the heart space. And settle here in that space just for a bit. The simplest joy, the most basic and essential, is organic joy. It is the first emotion felt by the child.
Playing from iPad.
As it
3.
progressively disappears. I'll start again. The simplest joy, the most basic and essential, is organic joy. It is the first emotion felt by the child, and it progressively disappears because of external influences and the anguish the child receives immediately after birth. This organic joy manifests itself powerfully during adolescence and sporadically later on. Religions negate and depreciate the body, for they see it as an obstacle to absolute purity, and therefore they contribute to poisoning our perception of organic joy. The body becomes tense, limits its experience of the world, develops the sense that it is irreparably flawed and that it must be sacrificed for the benefit of the mind. The body gradually learns to feel alive only through pain, and that at least gives us a sign. I suffer, therefore I am alive. The first step towards enhancing joy consists in reconnecting with the body, accepting it, and recognizing its inalienable right to life. That is, being courageous and determined to realize one's own nature. Moral injunctions will appear as a series of subtle obstacles. It will be necessary to decipher them and bring them to light. We need to listen attentively to our internal voice that constantly attempts to hinder the communication of the body with what is real. Where does this voice come from that states you don't have the right to be alive? Is it the voice of our parents, of our teachers, or of the clergy, those with whom we have rubbed shoulders? Or could it be the manifestation of our deepest fears of living life at its fullest? Or is it this famous death wish that escorts us through life? The more we listen to this voice, the more we can recognize its absurdity. It is the voice of the internal dialogue, our own voice. Therefore, we can allow it to be silent. What gives meaning to life is our acceptance of being fully alive. So when death comes, we shan't regret that we did not live fully. Once we were able to go beyond the first steps, when we have given ourselves a full right to life, we will realize that our body and our capacity to feel the pulse of life and our emotions We're anesthetized by years of sensory, mental, and emotional deprivation. We will then realize we were giving the illusion of a fragile security, ready to explode under the slightest shock. On our road to joy, we first must abandon the very notion of security. Life is beautiful to the extent that it is dangerous. I remember having once seen a teenager who proudly displayed a t-shirt that she had painted herself stating, "What does not scare me is of no interest to me." Let us remind ourselves of that courage in order to begin to taste organic joy. Our body is a marvelous and elusive instrument. It is able to guide us in our decisions with precision and speed, thanks to its immediacy. The body only knows two words, yes and no. It does not know hesitation or indecision. Its way of saying yes is to open up, while its way of saying no is to close up. The direct message manifests itself in less than a second while our brain is still reflecting, scanning the past, scouring statistics, establishing risks of failure, only to end up after many minutes, even hours, proposing a more prudent solution that we are more likely to adopt. Let us allow our body to operate according to its rapid mode. Let us trust it in order to unblock the mind. This is our first exercise towards joy. We will be scared. We will be under the impression that we're acting foolishly. Slowly, we will rediscover the fundamental pleasure of having reconnected to our bodies. By trusting the body, we will rapidly develop our capacity to capture what is real. Our life will become less predictable for ourselves as well as for others. We will be astonished by the accuracy of how our bodily responses goes, and we will progressively smile at the ineffective complexity of our mental processes. Let us reserve our mind for all the marvelous things it can do, and let us provide its moments when it can rest. Forcing it to work non-stop for 16 hours a day, our mind really deserves time off. A large part of the stress and tiredness that limits us stems from the constant and incessant discourse that keeps us buzzing day and night. The body can only relax when there is silence. We're used to putting it in a state of stupor through the use of alcohol, drugs, images, and sounds, when what it simply needs is to drink at the freshest fountain of silence. Gradually, we will appreciate testing the silence of our mind, no longer imposing the fears and boundaries that it fabricates by analyzing the past. Organic joy requires the mind to be serene and tranquil. It has been of great help until this time, but we have put it to forced labor. The mind, like any other worker, deserves hours of rest. There's no labor union protecting the mind. So let us stop exerting an internal dictatorship before we revolt against the external one. As you gently come back to your bodies and your breath, still in stillness, I'll invite you to plant a meditative seed into your heart, maybe to allow it to blossom in the next few weeks or months, or bring it forth when needed. Being present depends on the relaxation of the breath. What would happen if I attempted to be conscious of my breath 20 or 30 times a day for 15 to 20 seconds? Being present depends on the relaxation of the breath. What would happen if I attempted to be conscious of my breath 20 to 30 times a day for 15 to 20 seconds? Being present depends on the relaxation of the breath. What would happen if I attempted to be conscious of my breath 20 or 30 times a day for 15 to 20 seconds? When you're ready, you may start gently moving whichever part of your body feels like moving. And from the gentle movement, maybe bring your knees up, maybe rock the body from side to side, or simply in your own terms, progressively find the way to sitting. Connected to the body, connected to breath, connected to your environment, through the contact of the floor and the ground and the sense of space around. Let's bring our hands where we started this class, placing your hands onto your heart space. Taking a moment not only to feel the warmth of your hands, the warmth of the heart space, but maybe sensing a little more aliveness and openness, maybe a heartbeat, maybe a pulse. And in celebration for joy in our lives in this season of year, let's chant one Om and bring that Om into the vibration of the heart. Take a deep breath in. Namaste. Thank you, thank you.